Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Star Trek Discovery review. STD, feel the burn. Do you feel the itch, the burn? I know I do. A late one, unscheduled. I just felt like I needed to do something today because I haven't done much. And this episode wasn't much. Was it the worst episode of Star Trek Discovery ever made compared to, say, the last 2 or 3 episodes? No, actually, I think they're setting up to destroy a lot of canon, though. And there is a lot to go over, and it wasn't good. But there were points in this episode where I was actually interested in something in the plot, but it had nothing to do with, caring about the characters or the show. It was its placement in Star Trek. And it's like, ooh, could this really be possibly headed towards the Kelvin timeline or its own timeline and not part of the real Star Trek, which I don't consider it to be, no matter what CBS says or Alex Kurtzman. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Nyla Shadow, for being here. I know some of my mods are in Vegas without me, and I hope they're having a great time. I really do. Welcome, Roma Grey Wolf 2020 is a trash fire. Keck 44, Jeremiah Fix, Darth Margoth the second, and Lord Thoth. Hello, Lord Thoth. Well, this one was called Terra Firma Part 1. But I like to call it Cirque Discovery because there was a circus scene. Now, I have to give them a little credit here. There was a lot less crying this episode, but it was made up with feelings in the cafeteria, feelings in the hallway, and feelings in a mirror universe. They're spreading the feelings all around. And if I could get away with it without getting a copyright strike, I would start every one of these reviews with, I forgot the guy who sang the song Feelings from 1975 or whatever it was. My mom used to love that song. It's very depressing, to be honest with you. So how did we begin this episode? We started out with, I know I just watched it again and I've already forgot it. Oh, we start with some eyeballs, and then it forms into the imposing figure of Michelle Yao, who has a severe case of no acetol. Sorry, she doesn't. There is nothing in that trunk at all. Not like Tilly, you know what I'm saying? So the eyeballs form into a hologram of Georgiou because holograms are back, and we have David Cronenberg. I don't know his character's name. He has a very interesting, it's supposed to be a 31st century tie on, and his glasses. And I love David Cronenberg. For one, I know I bring this up all the time, but he played a oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of my favorite. This is what happens when you get old. He played a great serial killer in one of my favorite movies that I'm forgetting the name of right now. So I'll remember it later. I'm in Star Trek mode. So we got David Cronenberg there, Nightbreed. God, see? And I love that movie. David Cronenberg is with Dr. Culber. I used to say Colder, but I think it's Culber. I should know all of these names by heart, but I just don't care enough. And they are discussing Philippa Georgiou and her time sickness. And this is where we immediately get an introduction of the Kelvin timeline. That's right. They bring I think his name was Yor. I can't remember what his rank was. Lieutenant Yor. It's a hologram of the only other being besides Georgiou, who has traveled not only in time, but from another dimension. And according to David Cronenberg, there's time sickness, where your molecules are always trying to get back to your time. Culber says, well, we traveled in time, but of course, we couldn't have a further plot complication. So he said, no, it's fine. You guys can travel in time, but this is just from another dimension. And they mention the Romulan mining ship incident that created another timeline. So they know that split off the timeline. They are aware of the Kelvin. And I've said it since the first review I did of this show, if this took place in the Kelvin timeline, I largely wouldn't have a single problem with this show other than it being horribly written and horribly acted and horribly produced, but it wouldn't be destroying Star Trek lore. It would be making its own way, and it would probably be doing just fine if they did that. But no, we know why they deliberately made a prequel. They deliberately, obviously, made Michael Burnham Spock's foster sister, is because they feel that the Star Trek's past is problematic. And same goes for Doctor Who. Same goes for Star Wars. And by the way, that's not going to change. The news we got from Star Wars over the last 72 hours. Disney Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy here to stay. And it looks like Kurtzman is too. You know, because all we need is content these days. We don't need quality. And, you know, I accepted that this was Star Trek a long time ago. I heard the rumors. I reported the rumors a couple years ago that Kurtzman might be going, but it appears they were either, well, I don't know if they were misinterpreted. I've heard that at one point he was gone and then he was back. Now, could it be he just vacated some offices for a little while and then returned to some offices? That could have been the case. It doesn't matter at this point because he's running the show. And so is Michelle Paradise. And you can see the biggest difference between Kurtzman and Paradise is just a lot more crying. That's about it. I mean, the stories are the same nonsensical stories, and we're most definitely going to bring up, once again, I'm sorry to beat this dead horse, the artificial intelligence dilemma in this show. Because they don't even pay attention to their own canon, much less the rest of Star Trek. Why would they bother? So, Yor, I think it's Lieutenant Yor, came from the Kelvin timeline, and he had time sickness so bad that the Federation recommended euthanasia. That's right, killing the guy because he was in so much pain. Now, why not just send him back? Because, as they say in this episode, they have the technology to do so. Well, it's against the rules. And apparently, according to the time or the temporal accords, you can't do it anymore. And they are ironclad. They are ironclad. But I'm guessing if they just ask Michael Burnham to break these rules, they would do it in a hot second. Because if you thought this episode wasn't going to be all about Michael Burnham, being Michael Burnham, and I'm waiting for an episode of just, of being John Malkovich, Michael Burnham. That's all they need to do for an hour. Perry Chan could probably do something with that. It's definitely surrounding her. Although this is I think we're starting to send off Georgiou to go into her Section 31 show. We'll see if that happens or not. I think if we've all learned one thing from particularly Star Wars and Star Trek over the past 4 years, you're going to see a lot of announcements. And sure, some of these shows will happen. Most will not. Or we'll repurpose announcements, or we'll repeat some announcements to get some more money from investors because our parks are closed and theaters are closed. Where CBS is getting money from, it has to be Netflix. It's the only thing I can think of. So apparently you can't send anybody back because it's against the rules. And what Cronenberg recommends to Dr. Culber is just sedate the hell out of Philippa Georgiou and put her in a cell. Because if you tell her she's dying, Terrans are going to, they want to die all of a sudden they're Klingons for some reason. They want to die an honorable death, and they wake up every morning thinking about death, and she'll go crazy on the crew and try to get somebody to kill her, which she does later in the episode. Culber says, well, that's impossible. And guess what? We have a magic bullshit machine even though you're in the 31st century and we're from the 23rd century, we got the sphere data. Remember the sphere data? If you don't remember the sphere data, in season 2, there was 2 time travel things. One was random, and while they were dealing with the second random time, I think it was the episode where they were dealing with the second random time travel thing. They also had this. It might have been a different episode. I don't care. They ran across a planet that, a sphere, but it was as big as a planet, and it observed other planets, and it was able to record what it saw and communicate it. And it just happened to run across the Discovery and went, "Hey, I'm dying. You look real nice because you have a Michael Burnham. I want to download everything I've learned over the last 10 or 100,000 years, forgot what it was, into your ship's hard drives, although I doubt they could fit it." And that's what Control wanted to become, an artificial intelligence, even though it wasn't an artificial intelligence, but it had the desire to become one. I don't know how it isn't one at that point, but we've gone over that ad infinitum. So they had the sphere data, and Culber says, "Hey, magical bullshit machine, is there a solution for this problem?" And she goes, "You betcha." And guess who it involves? Michael Burnham. That's right. And they come up with, they come up with the solution of they have to go to Danis 5. And I'll admit, I looked up Danis 5. I'm like, is that a planet that we've heard before? No, but it's the last name of a writer for Star Trek The Next Generation, so maybe they just named it after him. We had a quick scene with Tilly and Georgiou because Georgiou was having trouble picking up a glass of wine because her hand was phasing through it. So Tilly wanted to sit down and ask her about her feelings. How do you feel about not being able to pick up that wine glass? And Georgiou dumps her lunch on her. And Michael Burnham's like, "We don't do that." And, Georgiou said, "I have started wars for less." All, 90 pounds of her. Very intimidating. Very intimidating. So the sentient computers decided they need to go to Danis 5. And of course, they need to drop everything and help Philippa Georgiou, and they have to go ask Admiral Vance. Now, I don't know why they go through this routine every week in the show, because we know what he's going to say at this point, and he really does give it up a little bit too easy, which makes me suspect that Admiral Vance is probably duplicitous. And, well, every admiral in this show is, so why not? He's male, for one. So he just says, "Sure. And you know what? You should totally take Michael." She should totally go. I know a few episodes ago she just got demoted, but we're not really taking that seriously, are we? So Michael Burnham is going to take Georgiou down alone to a planet that's outside of, or close to the Gamma Quadrant. It's not that far. The Emerald Daisy Chain is going to practice some war maneuvers. So they wanted to keep an eye on that, but it almost sounded like Admiral Vance wanted to get rid of him. And Admiral Vance is now aware, I guess, of the sphere data. And I have a question. Why didn't they download the sphere data into the Federation computer when they debriefed? Oh, that's right. They only debriefed a few people. They didn't bother debriefing all the other captains and lieutenants and everybody else about the Discovery, who were surprised that they had a quick response ship for some reason. The first thing is, you've got 100,000 years of information. We could use that, because I bet you some of that information was prior to the burn. But no, let's have the 16-year-old working on a problem because plot complication. That's from Star Trek, by the way. I'm sure you guys know that. Oh, boy, oh, boy. And this is the episode's just getting started. Oh, and remember a couple of episodes ago when the Vulcans were past silly little proverbs like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one? Well, effing Saru breaks it out when it comes to Georgiou. Now, for some reason, Saru disagrees with this and thinks the Discovery should stick around for the Emerald Daisy chain, but that was just so Michael Burnham could, one up him one more time. And that's exactly what happens. And then Vance has a little talk with Saru, basically explaining how important, he's talking about Georgiou, but we're really talking about Michael Burnham. And he says, if one crew member is falling, the rest will follow. But he really meant to say is this is somebody who's close to Michael Burnham, and dude, you better do what Michael Burnham says. So he does. And Saru looks a little perplexed about this. And then, so Georgiou wants to die. And she's upset and she wants somebody to kill her. So she's acting out at everybody. So she ends up in the gym, on the Discovery gym. And, I was going to go, well, maybe they have a holodeck now because they didn't before. This is, it's prior to holodecks, but there was a holodeck in the animated series, but this is still takes place before, well, supposedly, I know they're in the 31st century, but before it was in the 23rd century, prior to the holodeck that was in the animated series, which I don't know. Gene Roddenberry said it wasn't canon, but I think it is canon now. Sure. I like the animated series, the original one, of course, not the crap that the short treks they were delivering up to us. And so Georgiou's in this gym, hitting a punching bag, and there is knives and swords in there. Why is there knives and swords in a gym on a science vessel? So there's knives, and she picks one up and throws it at Michael Burnham. It misses, and then she swings a sword at Michael Burnham's neck. And Georgiou says, "Oh, my Michael, it would have been her greatest honor to kill me, and I would have loved to kill her. And but I did kill her, but I feel bad. But it would have been an honor, and I'm so torn up inside, and I'm literally falling apart." Michael Burnham's like, "Let me help you. Help me help you." So she puts a little bracelet on her because she's about to die. So if it goes to red, she's going to die. And they're going to go to outside the Gamma Quadrant to go to this planet. And my good friend Bird of Prey 5 was warning us this was going to happen. And it has happened. And this is going to open up the biggest can of freaking worms. Despite this, aside from the show existing. So what they do is they have a little... before they go, I'm sorry, I can't skip past this. They have this very emotional goodbye scene to Georgiou between Saru, Tilly, and Michael Burnham. So Georgiou just threw a plate of food on Tilly, and then Tilly gives her a hug and says, "I've really learned a lot from you, strangely." And that was the one that made sense. What didn't make sense was Saru, who's never really liked Georgiou, but if you remember, it was the real Georgiou who found him when he was able to put together was able to communicate with the Federation and kind of make first contact for the Kelpians. It wasn't technically first contact because they did not achieve warp, but they were able to contact them, and that's how he got in the Federation, and he learned everything from her. She's practically a freaking mom to him, but he says... I shit you not. He says, "I learned as much from you as I did from the other one." And I'm like, this show's fucking stupid. Oh my God. So they do there's a little crying, of course. And then they say goodbye. And then there's a big callback to the first episode with Georgiou and Michael Burnham walking in the desert, making the stupid Delta, and fucking they do it. They didn't make one in the snow this time they're in the snow, but it's supposed to mimic their walk. Remember when they have the insignia on the sand that the ship couldn't see because it was stormy and cloudy? It was just dumb. So they're on a snow planet outside on Danis 5. And they have a big, long conversation about some stuff I've completely forgotten about at this point. I shit you not, I just watched this episode an hour ago. But it was just long enough for them to get... And remember, we're on a countdown, like Georgiou's dying, but they're having this leisurely stroll, And then right at the end of their conversation, they get their bearings and their coordinates. And I really hate this badge that like throws up a screen right in front of them. It doesn't look cool. It looks dumb. And they say, well, there's a life form right here. And we get Carl at the edge of or the Carl of forever, or Carl at the edge of forever. And it's the guardian of forever. That's what it's supposed to be. How do I know this? Well, he's in 30s garb. He's a white male in his 60s. He's smoking a cigar. And he's got a newspaper that's the Star Dispatch. Well, the Star Dispatch is the same newspaper that said Edith Keeler was going to die. And that was in the 30s too. So now what relation the 1930s has to this show and why they would see the Guardian of Forever in this manifestation makes no sense. Now, remember, it was just a booming voice in the original series. Now it's a guy standing in front of a door. And this is going to be what saves Georgiou. And now remember, she's got time sickness, but she's not really sick. She just needs to go back to her time. So the sphere data magically came up with this because Culber asked, giving very few details. They might have fed him in the computer. I can't really remember. And the computer didn't give any specifics. The computer just said, you need to go to this planet. Didn't say where on the planet. They just happened to find it. And Carl happened to be waiting for Georgiou. And the newspaper he was holding, the Star Dispatch, said Georgiou's going to die. But then Georgiou says, I'm still alive. And he's all, well, it's tomorrow's paper and you better hurry. And she keeps asking questions. And he keeps on saying, well, the answer comes after the question. The answer can't come before the question. And yeah, it made me think of the Enigma from Mystery Men. But she goes through the door, right? And then we're back in the mirror universe. And it's 6 months prior to Lorca's mutiny, and it's before Georgiou killed the mirror Michael Burnham, which we finally get to see because we didn't get to see it last time. And Captain Killy is there. There's a big difference between Killy from this season and Killy from season 1. We'll just leave it there. There's a big difference. It's really big. So Captain Killy is there, and she welcomes Georgiou, and it's, you know that Georgiou is going to be different now, and it's just supposed to show that the Discovery crew changed her, and now she's in this timeline, and she knows what's going to happen, so she's going to change time. Now the question has to be asked: is this really happening? Did she really go back in time, or is she just experiencing this in some netherworld in her head? Which I don't know. But if it is actually happening, these events are actually happening, then whatever she does, she's going to change time. Is it going to lead to the Discovery going to a different timeline, or is it just going to be a magic bullshit way of getting Georgiou back in time for Section 31? I don't know. We can hope that they're going to make this its own specific timeline, but I don't think so. Kind of like, the Disney trilogy being erased. I would love it to happen. I would absolutely love it to happen. But I don't think it will. And I'd love to be wrong about that. So we don't see the Discovery for the rest of the show, and it's all mirror stuff from here. All right. So, there's one more Discovery scene before this. I'm sorry. I'll backtrack a little bit. It's not that important. It's Adira and Stamets, because the LGBTQ representation has to group together and interact away from the heteronormative people because of intersectionalism. So Stamets, once again, has to give a pep talk to Adira, because Adira is just an SJW who's constantly complaining about stuff, and you try to make make them feel better. And they don't want to feel better. They just want to complain about shit. So she's working. I'm sorry. They are working on their No, I'm not sorry. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I'm going to say. Adira is working on her algorithm, and she makes a mistake. She forgot to recalibrate the algorithm when she made some change. She denies it at first when Stamets points it out, and then she's all, oh my God, I wasted a bunch of time. And he's like, it's okay. No, it's not okay. And it's about my boyfriend, Gray. But then the algorithm magically forms, and it's a Kelpian ship. So there was a Kelpian ship that's for some reason sent an encoded distress signal. I'm guessing that's probably why they didn't get saved. If you send an note to self, if I'm sending a distress signal, don't encode it. Don't encrypt it. I'm sorry. Don't encrypt it. Bad to send an encrypted distress signal. So they sent a distress signal like right around the time of the burn to another Federation ship that was 2 weeks away at maximum warp, and it never showed up. The message is 100 years old. Saru was moved that it was a Kelpian. So moved that he doesn't tell, for some reason, he doesn't tell Admiral Vance. Now, does Saru think Vance is up to something? Probably. But that's all we really find out. All right, so the rest of the time, it's in the mirror universe, and it is Georgiou trying to get Michael Burnham back. She knows Michael Burnham's going to betray her because she's been sleeping with Lorca. Now, they talk about Lorca a lot, but he's not in the episode at all. Like, they couldn't get Jason Isaacs to come in. What is he doing a whole lot right now? And when they're in the mirror universe, it's clearly a better show. Like it's clownish and it's over the top, but so is the regular stuff. If they had just done this as a clownish mirror show, it'd probably be better at this point. So Georgiou has a little talk with Killy. Killy says, yes, there's a plot against you, Lorca and Michael Burnham. And Georgiou wants to, and Killy said, yeah, and you have to kill them both. And Georgiou's all, no, I don't want, I want to bring Michael Burnham back to my side. And she's like, that's against Terran rules. If anybody sees weakness, they'll jump on it. She's like, well, I'll change the rules because I'm Georgiou. She meets with Michael Burnham and at a bar, and there's a couple of Kelpian slaves there, including Saru. A couple of things happen, blah, blah, blah. And, Georgiou's just trying to get to the bottom of what Michael Burnham is doing, trying to get her to tell the truth. And you could tell Georgiou's changed. She actually saves Saru from getting killed by Michael Burnham, who said their Kelpians are just a waste of space. And she takes Saru back to her room. She's all, I'll take this slave and I'll punish him, or I'll, And he starts doing her hair. And then she asks Saru something that she didn't bother to ask any slave before, for information, because slaves are privy to pretty much all that. They aren't treated obviously as equals, so they are treated as nothing. People talk freely around them. And it just occurred to Georgiou right now to think of asking the slaves, hey, are they plotting against me? And he said, yes. And there's a big Cirque du Soleil presentation that Stamets is hosting. They have people on ribbons flying around, and it's to present the new ship that she has, the one with the sun at its core. I think it's like a little mini star at its core. And does that run on dilithium? Can't remember. Doesn't matter. It's a mirror universe. And this is where Michael Burnham is supposed to turn on Georgiou, but it's supposed to be Stamets who kills her, and she kills Georgiou kills Stamets, so Stamets dies again. Michael Burnham's all, I'm almost caught. So she goes, Hail Giorgio. And then she walks away, and then Killy traps her. Giorgio confronts her and says, why did you do this? Come to my side. And then Michael Burnham's all, because Giorgio keeps saying that she pulled her off a trash heap. And Michael Burnham's all, I was the king of that, or I was the queen or king of that trash heap. And which is a perfect quote for this show. And Jack Beers put it up on Twitter. That was great. And Giorgio's going to execute Michael Burnham, and she can't do it at the end. She says she's going to basically torture her instead because she can't do it because she's obviously changed from her experience on the Discovery. So the woman who killed billions, was eating Kelpians, basically a space Hitler, has gone soft because she hung around Michael Burnham and cried with everyone on the Discovery. And the episode ends with Michael Burnham being dragged off. Seeing if I missed anything else. Nope. Nope, that's it. It does look like that Admiral Vance is up to something, and it has something to do with the burn. Now, is it a mistake or something else, or he knows something and not something that he had something to do with it because it happened before he was born? But he knows some information that he's not sharing. Who knows? It does seem like, you don't think too much. There was a time, in season 1 where you thought like maybe this show is just new and it's going to get its feet under it and they'll start explaining things a little better and maybe we'll actually start seeing some characterization. Never happened. So I don't think about that stuff. Don't think about it too much because they don't. It would be a waste of my time because they don't think about it. Why should I think about it? Oh, but this is Star Trek made for a specific crowd. I just don't think the mass appeal is there with that show. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. So, I don't know. What did you guys think? I would call this probably one of the better episodes. Oh, there's a quick scene with Booker too. He said, I want to be a part of Starfleet. And Saru says, well, you'll get your moment. I guess you don't have to go to the academy anymore. And there was another dumb scene as well that I put in my notes that I forgot. When Adira figured out the algorithm, as we all knew she would, and the Kelpian ship showed up, Stamets says, go get the captain. Go get the captain. Go get the captain. Okay, I'm not even going to say intercom. I'm going to say she could have beamed to the captain. As a matter of fact, I don't know why anybody bothers walking around on the ship because you have your little transporter badge right here. And it's a comm badge too. So you could hit your comm badge and go, Captain, we figured out the algorithm from the burn instead of running over there. And the captain could just beam right over because it's all right there. Or you could have just sent the captain the information on your comm badge, which has little screens come up. But if they don't think about it, I won't think about it. Now, the whole premise of season 2 was artificial intelligence is bad. What was the whole premise of Star Trek Picard? Artificial intelligence is bad. There is a singularity that when artificial intelligence starts thinking for itself, it doesn't need humans anymore, and they become its enemy. There's a lot of scientists who believe that too in real life. But, not to worry, Google will not be AI for a few more years. So I think we got a few more years, but I digress. So in season 2, there was a thing called Control. And Control came out of a probe that a shuttlecraft from the Discovery sent through a time anomaly. Now, this is different from the Red Angel time suit and all the time travel with the Red Angel suit. They had a separate time travel event. There was a tachyon field of some kind, and quantum. Tachyon quantum, just say that. And they sent the probe through it, and it came back a tentacle monster capable of free thought, but not enough. So again, it was an artificial intelligence that wasn't quite an artificial intelligence, although it knew it wanted to be an artificial intelligence. And it was going to kill all sentient life. All sentient life. And that's why the Discovery and Michael Burnham in her Red Angel suit went to the future, although they had neutralized the artificial intelligence that wasn't quite an artificial intelligence before they went through the wormhole to the future. So they didn't need to go. They never needed to go. Oh, and they also had an autopilot on the Discovery and the Red Angel suit, but forget that part. And in Star Trek Picard, well, there was this beacon basically that was on one of the, I forgot, some planet in the Romulan Empire that only the women in on Romulus in the Romulan Empire knew about. For some reason, it was too much information for the men, but it was a group of women who guarded this beacon, and they were aware of the worst information out there, which was if this news if that beacon gets to the right people, that some race from another dimension or time that is all machine will come in and wipe out all sentient life. So again, artificial intelligence is bad. And the whole premise of that beacon was once you achieved artificial intelligence, then you contacted that other race of artificial intelligence that will help you get rid of the organics basically for you. They're like pest control, organic pest control. And those were the giant metallic tentacles that came out of the butthole in space. So there was like these metallic tentacles, yeah, and it looked like a little butthole in space. That was the end of Picard. You know, that episode, that season where he dies and becomes a robot. Yes. Well, for some reason, the artificial intelligence in the Discovery is totally cool. I'm guessing because it's voiced by a female. That's the only difference. But it's totally cool that you have this sentient computer. Basically, your ship is sentient now. Now, is it going to have something to do with all of these events coming together and all shows are going to cross over? I absolutely believe that's going to happen. As from Heel versus Babyface brought this up a couple of reviews ago, that whatever the source of the burn, and it's whatever's transmitting that song, it's probably a Federation ship. And my guess, it's either another version of the Discovery, but Az thinks it's the Enterprise, which it could be. And that's the cause of the burn. And maybe they're in a different time altogether. I don't know. I don't care. But, I think all roads lead to Michael Burnham on this, and she'll have something to do with it. But I absolutely believe that they want to do a crossover with Star Trek Discovery and Picard and Strange New Worlds and whatever, Lower Decks. Who knows? Who knows? G-Virus00 for $5. What I meant by hate for the VGA is seeing mostly video game awards is seeing mostly women in leads. So that made me sexist to women unfairly and Neil winning. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we all knew Neil was going to win those video game awards. I mean, that was an absolute. Didn't Brie Larson give him? Was that where Brie Larson gave him an award? Hilarious. 200 Watt Studio for $10. In 2002, Stargate SG-1 did an episode about a main character double from an alternate timeline that suffers from entropy in our universe. It starts to kill her until she returns to her own timeline. Are you saying that Star Trek Discovery lifted something from somebody else? And I wouldn't be surprised if that plot is in 3 or 4 other places as well, maybe even within a Star Trek book. I haven't read them all. So Irish Jack 72, welcome to the Gandalf level. Welcome. We got a member stream tomorrow morning. Matt G for $1.49. Thank you for the phallic unicorn, my friend. Crispy Critters for $2. Gary, stop torturing yourself. No. It's fine. I mock it at this point. Star Trek's dead. Star Trek's dead. Again, out of the 3 franchises, Star Wars is probably in the best shape right now, and that's not saying much. After their gigantic step sideways 3 days ago, I think everybody with the Star Wars information is kind of like let it sink in a little bit, and the general excitement, because I think a lot of people become prisoners of the moment. Especially, I didn't realize that Ahsoka is not coming out till 2024. So, but some of the Marvel news was good. I thought Loki looked pretty good. Actually, I liked the music in the trailer. I thought it was pretty. I liked it. Piano Dean for $10. Gary, just got home from entertaining drunk masses. Oh, awesome. You mean like, I was going to say like in a hall or something? With my piano, as far as the coof was concerned, there were 0 fucks given. By the way, I'm 3 years, 2 months sober, and you're part of what keeps me that way. Oh, wow. Piano Dean, congratulations, my friend. I got an email saying something similar too, and that's actually really effing cool. Yeah, I mean, this is a tough time to stay sober, all right? It really is, especially when it's hard to go to meetings. I found a meeting, finally. It's an outdoor one. I bring my own chair, and man, did I need one. Whew, did I need one. So, 3 years, 2 months, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Keep it up, one day at a time. Renoy for $5. If I don't return to my dimension, I die. It's also a Batwoman plot. All these woke shows are sharing and recycling the same writers and plots. Exactly. There's only so many places you can go when you tell woke stories. And noticed that all the franchises now are bringing in time travel. Star Wars, time travel. Star Trek has had time travel, but they're really introducing it a lot this season. Marvel, multiverse. DC, multiverse. It's creative bankruptcy. That's all it is. We don't need all this time. For Christ's sake, Doctor Who's premise is time travel, and they can't get it right. So, oh my God. I heard today the worst Doctor. It's speculation at this point, and it's not going to be Baby Dalek. Baby Dalek. Now, it's not going to be like Baby Yoda. There's not going to be some guy running around with a little Dalek trying to keep him safe. He's all, exterminate. Plus, a Baby Dalek would not be cute at all. So, but yes, I'm not shitting you. A Baby Dalek. Why not? Why not, folks? Multiverse and time travel equals no consequences, says Kiss. Yep, you are correct there. Absolutely correct there. Doctor Who equals gender travel. Baby Dalek. I'm not kidding. If I might do a video on it tomorrow. Matt Hooper. Every nightmare that I have involves time travel or zombies. Usually it's me running into people or family and seeing how alternate choices have affected their lives. Wow. Those are vivid dreams, Matt. My dreams are always, I'm always in a post-apocalyptic version of the neighborhood I grew up in. Is that weird? I mean, a lot of them are just in this post-apocalyptic version of Carlsbad, California, where I grew up in Encinitas. What's up, Jennifer Cisco? When are we going to find out the Daleks are actually just misunderstood, says Bogey780. Oh, maybe this episode. Basically what's happening is these are man-made or woman-made Daleks. in this episode because they're calling back to the holiday special last time. Because that's what you want to call back to is more shitty Doctor Who. When you make more shitty Doctor Who, you want to call back to your previous shitty Doctor Who, and you want to bring in a guest from the worst episode too. Baby Dalek, Poopinate, says 200 watt studio. Oh, I almost hit the wrong one. I'll give you that one. You barely earned it there though, buddy. There you go. That's better. Defecate. Matt S. God bless you for watching and reviewing this trash. I can't bring myself to watch any of it. Fanzine vids. Don't. Honestly, I'm done after this year. I'm done. And the only reason I'm doing these is, these are basically my notes for my full season review. I'm going to do, Picard should be out by the end of next week. But my Picard review. And then I'll have a Mandalorian review of the full season that's going on the main channel. And then I'm going to backtrack and do Star Trek. I probably won't get Star Trek Discovery 1 and 2 out before season 3. Plan on reviewing a couple of things I like, by the way, including The Expanse, which starts in 4 days. 4 days. And the Orville will come back someday, hopefully. Hail, I sent you a video that you might enjoy, says Elizabeth Barlow. Did you send it on Twitter, Elizabeth, or email? Is it something we can show here, or will I get a copyright strike or claim? Is there anything good to watch, Joe and on? Yeah, in 4 days. The Expanse. If you have not gotten into The Expanse and you like hardcore science fiction, then you're in for a treat. You go to Amazon Prime, if you're a member, and you can sign up there. I don't know if they're doing any deals or anything. I don't know what your financial situation is. Not everybody can sign up to a streaming service, so I don't want to sound like I'm assuming that. Go check out The Expanse. Highly recommend it. Very, very good. Time for Roger Daltrey to sing Doctor Who Are You? Oh, Glinsner. Doctor Who Cares. Doctor Who Cares. Roger Daltrey. I love The Who. Got to see him live with John Entwistle, by the way. Not with Keith Moon, no. He was long gone, which is too bad. That guy was a beast on the drums. Expanse, our last best hope, says Brian Lewis. Yes, it is. And, there's so The Expanse, according to the writers of the book, is not canceled, but I think it's a bit of wishful thinking on their part. There is a big natural story shift after book 6. And I do believe that the show might actually only be paused, and they might bring it back with specials to truly end it, because it's not going to end supposedly at season 6. It's just a stopping point, according to the writers. The writers said they had 6 seasons for Prime planned, not just 6 seasons for the show. As far as Star Trek Discovery is concerned, it was we heard some rumors that they hadn't been filming season 4, although the crew is there. I do believe and that was based on I guess somebody went to the Directors Guild, or it's either it's a guild of some kind. You can go to their website and see what they're filming in Canada. And Star Trek Discovery was no longer there, but I think they just changed the name. So I think we are getting Star Trek Discovery season 4. Are we getting a full season? I doubt it. I doubt we're going to get 13 episodes of this. You could tell they have a lot less money than previous years. I will say that I believe they put some effort to try to make things better. I think the only thing they've done to try to make things better is give Michael Burnham a personality, but it's way too late for that. And they still center the entire show around her. I just, I'm kind of black pilled on Star Trek. Sorry. I don't usually do black pills, but TT is TTT, the TTT or the titty. Well, titty is what they, that's the think tank that basically tells the writers in Hollywood what to write and what not to write. And it's partially funded by the Roddenberry Foundation. And I think this is the guide they go by for this show. As a matter of fact, I know that's the guide they go by. And when I do my full review for Star Trek Discovery Season 3, which will be a video, probably a half an hour to an hour long. So if you want to sit through all that, I'll explain it. See, that's the thing about reviewing this show. And if you wanted to do just a season review, it's impossible to do a season review of this show in 10 minutes and really get through how dumb it is. And I don't need a show to be as a matter of fact, I can't stand shows that think they're smart, or creatives that think they're smart. And it's too much. It gets really pompous and pretentious. But Star Trek was just right. I'm not saying it was the most brilliant show, but it was the most comfortable show. It was a comfortable place to go, and it's not anymore. And they squandered that. And they squandered it because they weren't fans of the show and they weren't capable of making it. They don't have the talent. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's not POCs that was a problem. I mean, like, Star Trek always had representation. It was always inclusive in all their words, all their little words that they use. But they need POTs, people of talent. People of talent. What's up, Wes Moody Webcast? How's your subs doing, man? I interviewed the Facebook fact checker on my channel. He was a legit journalist that covered Epstein before most. There's a lot in that 90 minutes. Oh, I'll check it out. Go check out Wes Moody Webcast if you want to see that. I got the message that you have your hours, but you need the subs. We'll get you your shout out in the rotation for Friday Night Tights, brother. We got you. We got you back. Expanse December 16th. First 3 episodes, then weekly. Oh, 200 Watt Studio for $2. They listened. Shows need to be weekly. Now they need to release it at a set time. So we can all watch it together, experience it together. So it's more of a communal watch. And if, I mean, I don't care what people say and what people accuse. That people are going to say what they're going to say. When people are into a show, it's better for my channel. It's better for any channel. I would much rather be covering a good show that people are excited about. Like, for example, I covered it season before last. I skipped it last season. I don't know why. I think I had too much on my plate. But when Better Call Saul comes back, I'm going to cover that show because I love that show. I think it's a great show. When I was covering, like American God season 1, people like that. I thought it was pretty good. It had its moments that I didn't like, but I thought it was pretty good. When I was covering Legion season 1 and 2, I liked both of those seasons. When The Expanse, I was covering that, I was having a good time. Westworld season 1 was having a good time. And if I was all, had my pom-poms out for The Mandalorian, it'd probably do a lot better on my channel. I don't have my pom-poms out for anything Star Wars, unfortunately, especially after watching that presentation again. Oh my God. You want to talk about painful? 3 hours. Now I found a way to watch it at double speed, so I didn't have to watch all 3 hours, but I lost count how many times they said consumer. It was in the hundreds. Mr. Miles, welcome to the proto-molecule level. But so much for letting the past die, huh? Kevin Williams for $5. Gary, a bit off topic, not too familiar with a JRRT myself. What do you enjoy the most about the Silmarillion? Thanks for helping us all hang in there. I is there something I enjoy the most? The Silmarillion was tough for me at first. It's only something I've learned to appreciate in the last few years. I don't know if I have a favorite part. The creation, when you get the foundation of what Tolkien intended for Middle Earth, which is Midgard, by the way. It's supposed to be Midgard. That's why it's called Middle Earth. And a lot of this is based on Norse mythology. But the creation, the Song of Creation, I love the first couple of chapters. And if I can find the link. Christopher, I can't pop the link in there. Christopher Lee reads the Silmarillion on Audible. No, I'm sorry. He reads the Children of Hurin, not the Silmarillion. Who read the Silmarillion? It's really good. I like the audiobook. It helps me go to sleep. I forgot what the actor is who read it, though. Silmarillion audio book reader. Dun, 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 dun. I forgot his name now. Martin Shaw. He does a great job. But as far as J.R.R. Tolkien is concerned, I am way more versed in just The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. The Silmarillion's probably something I've read 3 times, and that's recently. And I admittedly was not the biggest fan of it. It was just because it's just a history. I like dialogue and story and plot. So it wasn't much to me until recently. And the reason I started digging into that was my dissatisfaction with George R. R. Martin. But I read The Hobbit as a kid. It was like the 3rd or 4th book I ever read it over and over again because I saw the cartoon when I was a kid and loved it. And now I own some animation cells from all that stuff, which is very cool. Matt Hooper. But yeah, I wouldn't start with the Silmarillion. I would start with The Hobbit. The Hobbit's good. Matt Hooper. For $5. Love your work. Thanks again for reading my message. Dreams are a fascinating look at someone's mind and can help someone figure out issues. Yeah. I've got a couple of books on dream interpretation that I haven't read in a while. But yeah, I'm not too sure. All I know is this show's going to Discovery's going to give me nightmares. No. What's up? Is Bear here? Did I see Bear's name? Absent-minded. I Nerdrotic hate reading. Can't be healthy. LOL. No, I love reading. The Silmarillion is good if you're stoned on weed. No, I don't know. I appreciate it more as an adult. I do. But, the first couple of times I took a crack at it, the part I liked the most was the hardest part for me to get into. It's it's like vegetables, as a kid, you can't stand vegetables. Then you grow up and you start liking some, That's the way I look at it. Now there's some kids out there who just, just some guy, I dug into the Silmarillion probably when he was like freaking 5, and there's just some people who dig into it more. But he's probably smarter. Well, he's smarter than I am for sure. For sure. As a fan of the Chronicles of Pern, I was thrilled when Warner Brothers bought the rights. Why? For a film adaptation years ago. Now I'd rather Pern stay exclusively in the world of books. Thanks, SJWs. Glinsner for $10. Remember the days when we were like, God, I'd love to see a movie of this favorite book of mine. Now you're like, don't tell anybody. Like, you don't want to tell anybody what your favorite book is. You're like, oh no, it's, and just say it's nothing. Or a book you really hate. Because the only thing you should ever remake is something that sucked. If you can take something that sucked and make it better, then remake it. And as far as adapting books, I don't know. I've never finished a book I hated. If I don't like a book, I don't finish it. Yeah, the Silmarillion is amazing, Travis. It is. And there's so much out there on Tolkien. And I've loved my rediscovery of Tolkien through my dissatisfaction with George, because I spent a good 5-6 years almost exclusively reading like nonfiction and George R. Martin stuff over and over and over again. I've read Dance of Dragons more than I've read any other of his books. Dance of Dragons I've read 8 times, 9 times. And that's just all the way through. I've read Tyrion's I've read characters portions of it more than that. I love Tyrion's journey in that book. That was so good. Uncle E is working on a book of dream interpretations. LOL. Is he? That's cool. Yep, sure. For $5. Please reconsider doing season 4 for Star Trek Discovery. Love these reviews. Not sure why I still watch this show. LOL. Honestly, the reason I'm doing this now is because you guys asked, and you asked nicely. Oh, there's Bear. What's up, man? How you doing? You guys asked nicely. Well, okay. I'll just take it one day at a time. Edgar Plummer, you have my promise. I'm going to give Dune another shot. I've tried Dune a bunch of times, not recently, not in the last 5 or 6 years, but I'm going to give Dune another shot because I want to read the book for the movie comes out. Because the movie does, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. Redecorating my studios. Just won a Style A and B vintage posters for Raiders and Temple of Doom. Now onto the Last Crusade and Crystal Skull. That is killer, man. I don't have room for posters, Mark. I don't. I've got some in the outer house, but I don't have room for posters anymore. I've got some of those black light Marvel ones and the Kirby ones still. I might break those out from my wall. The black light ones are bitching, man. They're so cool. Where's Kara? Kara. Oh. She fell off. Sorry. I was like, for a minute, I thought you were talking about my comic shop employee. Kara Breslin was the first female I hired. Kara Breslin. She was a genius. Loved Kara. The SJWs got their hooks in the stand. I'm pissed. Elizabeth Barlow for $2. Do you think that the stand coming on CBS is, oh man, it's 5 days, right? Or did it come out already? Let me get a new tab here. Yeah, it's the 17th. Oh, stop it. The 17th. I think I'm going to review that. Yeah, it's probably going to really suck. It's got Skarsgård in it, though, playing Randall Flagg. But, oh, my, Ezra Miller is the trash can man. What? And how many of the main characters did they gender swap? Babylon 5 Order, the pilot film, The Gathering, and then series in broadcast order. Now, that pilot film, that's not, okay. So, all right. I'll take that into account, 200 Watt Studio for $5 when Az and I start doing Babylon 5. Display should sponsor Nerdrotic. They've asked me, and I've turned down a lot of sponsors because I don't know. I wanted Audible. Like crazy, and they signed me, but then the coof happened, and I didn't hear back. I signed a deal with them. I'm thinking about taking on sponsors for Friday Night Tights, if you guys don't mind. And that money will go to the hosts, the co-hosts. So we're thinking about taking on a couple there, but they won't be lame. I promise you. It'll be something I like legit use. I'm not going to sponsor something I wouldn't use. I can't go, yeah, but this plate, like I at least there's nerd stuff involved there. Battlestar Galactica is still king of all sci-fi shows after 2000. Joseph, I would agree with that. It depends on how The Expanse ends. It really does. But I still think Battlestar's better than The Expanse. And that's only because The Expanse rushed last season. And there wasn't enough Miller. But I still loved it. Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is my all-time favorite. A friend gave me a hardback copy from the 40s. Wish I could be Captain Nemo sometime, says Matt Hooper for $5. That is a book I need to reread. You had a copy from the 40s? I hope you hung on to it. It's probably worth a few bucks. Somebody sent me, no, it was Java Bean. I think it's right over here. Hang on. Sent me his, I don't know why he did this. He sent me his Dennis Fisher, his Mego, Tom Baker, and this. I'm going to read the hell out of this. And this was printed. Got it from a library. I need new readers, so don't laugh. 1964. No, second printing. Second impression, 1965. Yeah, cool stuff. Hey, Gary, do you have any good recipes for Kelpian? Says Max Rottenstein for $2. Yes. With some fava beans? No. Yeah. I would just, for one, I'm not really into seafood. I hate seafood, but, I guess if you, cooked it with some, you saute it and, I'm not a chef. You can have it like sushi, but their gangly have to be hanging out, like for them to be butchered. So you have to have them in fear to be butchered. But yeah, you can have like a little Kelpian sushi bar. I'm sure it tastes just like 7-Eleven sushi, which I imagine is really bad. But I've never touched this stuff. I don't eat seafood. I know I grew up around the ocean. Born within 2 miles of the ocean. I've always lived within a few miles of the ocean, and I hate seafood. It scared me when I heard that Akiva was writing a movie adaptation of Ringworld. Please, God, kill it before it lives. It probably will, Tracy Wilborn, for $5 if Akiva is involved in any way, shape, or form. I can't believe that people were excited. I mean, that's how bad Kurtzman is. But Akiva is going to be running Strange New Worlds. Akiva was instrumental in Star Trek Picard. Like Michael Chabon ran the show, but Akiva pretty much plotted and planned the whole season. So that was Akiva. Michael Chabon didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was a novelist, and they wanted to have a sexy name running Picard. For some reason, Kurtzman couldn't do it or wouldn't do it. I don't know what was behind that. Supposedly, he was supposed to be the showrunner and wasn't. And remember, Picard didn't have a showrunner for the first 3 or 4 episodes. And that's when they put Chabon in there because he was just in the writer's room. But I think it was in name only. And I think Akiva was really running that show. Because if you look at the post interviews, it's almost all Akiva. And if you look at any interview with Michael Chabon, that dude is like 420, 24/7. Hello, young humans. It's story time. CBS Access Deadliest Catch with Kelpian Fishing. Brendan Lucas for £5. Thank you, 200 Watt Studio, for $2. Hang on a second. That jumped on me. I could get behind some Metamucil ads. Oh, Man of War 665, Neighbor of the Beast for $5. I gave you a rim shot, but I should have timed you out for that one. Oracle joins Tesla, HP, and Nerdrotic in fleeing California. Reports are that all 4 escapees shouted "freedom" louder than Mel Gibson at the end of Braveheart. Glisner for $5. Yes, I did not know HP was leaving. I knew Oracle was leaving. That was made public. And Tesla is out of there, freaking out of there. They pissed Elon off. And I'm so proud of Elon for doing that. He's the only CEO I respect. And I tweeted at him. He's not going to respond. And I just said, that was the best company I ever quit. It was the best company I ever quit. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great either. But it wasn't their fault. I mean, if you're going to work for Tesla, that's going to be one of the best jobs you ever have, period. Best benefits I ever had. Everything was free. Everything. My vision, everything. For my family, me, no extra money. So Glisner, you know what's funny? Is somebody popped up on Twitter and said I was lying about leaving California because I haven't left yet. So just to repeat, I am most definitely getting the fuck out of here. But I'm not rich. So there's a lot of things that need to happen before I can leave. We are looking at houses. We're looking at houses outside of San Antonio, in the country, in the middle of effing nowhere, where I'm going to have to pay probably to have like a dedicated fiber optic line, which is going to cost me a fortune. But yeah, we have to sell the house, save money. Hopefully we can sell the house. You know, it's just my life's work. You know, it was just my wife's life's work. And it's just my life's work that went into that house. That's like everything I had went into that house. So I could have something for my kids. And, well, California kind of screwed that up. What you going to do? Get out. Netflix Witcher was 2/3 female centric. Diversity crap. Cavill was only likable thing in that show. Leon K for $4.99. You know what? I still give it a 7 out of 10, Leon, but I haven't really gone back and went through, because when I do my review, I'm going to look at it with fresh eyes. And I have to consider that I've watched so much crap that when we see anything good, it's like after watching so much Star Trek Discovery, when I watch The Mandalorian looks genius compared to Star Trek Discovery. But if you think about The Mandalorian for like a minute, you go, ugh. When did Boba Fett repaint all his armor and why? I mean, did they stop off somewhere to do it? Because they've been pursuing Baby Yoda. So did Boba Fett go, hey, could you stop so I repaint my armor? Because unless he had paint on his ship, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I want to know these things. But Bill Burr was really good in the last episode. And that was the most characterization we've got out of any character. And he instantly became like, you notice you build characterization and you have sympathy for a character. Like a character who was not likable the first time he came around, but then he went to prison, had time to think, and really added a layer of something. What we saw with Bill Burr, we have never seen at all in Star Trek Discovery out of any character for 3 seasons. And I joke about this, but I'm serious. On the Orville, there's a ball of snot named Yaphet, voiced by Norm Macdonald. I know more about that character. I care more about that character than anything in Star Trek Discovery. And that's not hyperbole. It's not a joke. Yaphet, I mean, he started out as a joke, but in Identity Part 1 and 2, you see him like he's brave. He helps out Marcus. Yeah, it's a really freaking cool scene with the ball of snot. So Seth MacFarlane is able to do with a ball of snot that an entire crew of people cannot do at CBS with Star Trek. Now, I think a lot of times they use the critics to victimize themselves. They look at those bad people on YouTube. I doubt they do anymore because nobody cares about the show.
But back when it was at a fever pitch, when people were really hating Star Trek, about a year ago, supposedly, yours truly, Doomcock, Midnight's Edge, all got under their skin. Well, not supposedly, I know that for a fact. And they were using that for like victimhood, but like there's got to be somebody at CBS, somebody asking the question, how can Seth MacFarlane make a ball of snot more likable than every one of our fucking characters in this show that we're paying $10 million an episode for? Can somebody answer me that question? And I can't, like somebody like Jar Jar Abrams, I can see bullshitting his way around that, going, yeah, you don't really understand that. Like, it's like this mystery box and, oh, look at that light over there. And, sleight of hand shit. Kurtzman just goes, well, I don't know. I think, we're really into empathy. It's a word I learned at my therapist. I don't know what it means, but I use it a lot. And I think if we add more crying and feelings per episode, we'll get a stronger female audience. And if we remove every man from every scene and every man who does show up, he doesn't have any balls, I think the women will really like that out there. It's not true, though. It's not true. Move to North Carolina. We have the best barbecue. Fight me. Matt Hooper, I'm not going to. California, we have no barbecue. I mean, we're okay, We're okay at barbecue. I'm pretty good at barbecue. That's like I'm no chef, but I can barbecue fucking anything. Because I was taught by my dad in the parking lot of San Diego Stadium that turned into San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium that turned into Qualcomm and whatever the fuck it is now. Oh, Terran Empire, the mirror universe. It's a brutal empire. And according to the latest episode, each Terran wakes up wanting to fight and kill. Like somebody wanted, Reese, the Asian guy, was fighting the black helmswoman. And of course, he got his ass beat by her because he wanted her security job. So they got in a fight to almost the death. Yet your emperor and her number one combined aren't even 200 pounds. So you're talking about people who aren't superpowered. So they're regular humans and they win by brutality, by physical brutality and intimidation. And you don't even see like a big muscly guy on the screen. Like there is no masculine men anywhere. And they have emasculated Star Trek. They have absolutely removed it. Now, Anson Mount added a little bit of that last year, and he spent most of the season covering his balls. Literally, he had his hands like cupped in front of his balls. So this year, they've got Dollar Store Idris Elba, and there was a scene with him and Saru. And the scene where he's like, hey, I want to be, I'm an engineer. I'm a pilot. Oh, are you? Because I remember Michael Burnham fixing your ship at the end of last episode, Mr. Engineer. And listen, Star Trek was never, it started out this pretty butch show. That's how it started out. That's how a lot of young men and women got into it at a very early age. I've always felt, I could be wrong, I don't have actual data on this, just in my life observation on this planet, that Star Trek always had the most female fans. There were more women that I noticed that were into Star Trek than Star Wars. As far as women I dated, women I talked to, women I had friends, almost all of them like Star Trek. But not that many of them like Star Wars. I'm sure that's different now, but I'm talking about when I grew up. I always felt like there was more women in the Star Trek than in Star Wars. So you didn't need to do that, for one. And I think there's a balance. I always felt Star Trek was very egalitarian, especially the Next Generation on. It was most definitely egalitarian, especially for its time. Think about it. DS9 for sure. And it's just gone backwards now. It's just turned intersectional. There's segregation. And most importantly of all, even if they want to woke, they can't woke right because they're dumb. They're just not talented. And they're dumb when it comes to Star Trek. All right. I won't say they're dumb people in general, but they're just not experienced when it comes to sci-fi. You have soap opera writers, and they're taking on concepts they have never taken on before. And if you're not a fan of this stuff, you're not really going to ask the right questions, right? So what they do is they write an episode, and then instantly somebody like Bird of Prey 5 or yours truly or As or Midnight's Edge or Doomcock, when he does a review, we pick apart this stuff because we ask the questions they should have asked in the writer's room. For instance, before you're planning out season 3, you might have wanted to bring up just, okay, all of season 2 was about an evil artificial intelligence. And over there at Picard, it was an evil artificial intelligence. How about we not bring up artificial intelligence? Because if we were close to having it in the 23rd century, I'm guessing in the 31st century, burn or no burn, they're going to have it as well. And why don't they have it? Because if control was neutralized, then they would have continued working on it, and they most definitely would have had it by then. You can think up a reason around that, but you're muddled with AI, and the reason you are is your writer's room didn't ask questions that a Star Trek fan would ask. And, I consider myself a Star Trek fan. I do not consider myself a Trekkie or a Trekker. I think that's a designation for somebody who could probably name every single episode of every single show off the top of their head. Can't do that. But it's about asking the right questions. But at its core, as I'll say every review, character. That's all I care about, by the way. For example, we'll jump back to The Mandalorian. When you have a good character that you care about, you're more into that character, and then you're not thinking about the inevitable plot holes that every TV show, every movie has. Now, The Mandalorian shouldn't have that many plot holes because not that much is going on in it. And man, there's some doozies. But yeah. Now back to The Witcher. Leon, I have a feeling your feelings on The Witcher will be shared by a lot of people after season 2. I think a lot of people like yours truly were like, okay, this thing was really, I mean, there's straight up woke parts about it and intersect. The first episode, dude, is ridiculous. But I ended up liking it because of Cavill. I mean, Henry Cavill's a charming actor. He's a good Witcher. Could there have been better? I don't know. I'm probably going to feel differently after I play the game, which I'm going to start tomorrow, by the way. So we'll see. I have a feeling that you will have a lot more people on your team after season 2, based on what I have heard. Love your show and takes on on Dr. Karen. Any book recommendations for sci-fi or fantasy? I am Luke for $5. I am way more of a comic book guy than a book guy. So, I mean, the only like hardcore sci-fi I have read in the last 6 or 7 years is The Expanse. Most of my book reading was done prior to when I bought my comic shop. And I was reading tons of books back then. But then I bought the comic shop and I started cranking up my comic book reading to a ridiculous level. I was reading 15 a day, 15 every day. Then I stopped. But yeah, if you haven't read The Expanse, I'd read The Expanse. But the first 6 books are great. Then it goes a little off. Let me see if this one comes in one volume. I think it does. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of this book now. Shit. God, I hate it when that happens. I'll remember it tomorrow. It's been happening a lot lately. I think I'm not getting enough sleep or something. Nah, couldn't be possible. It's yes, okay. It's just it is. There's 10 Amber novels. It's the Chronicles of Amber. I was thinking the 9 Princes of Amber, but Roger Zalanzi. That book I read. I actually read that one locked up, and got into it big time. So it's a little older. He passed away in 1995. God, he's been gone that long, huh? But that's something I hope they never ever adapt either. I'd recommend that. I love it. Luke, thank you. Matt Hooper for $2. I already read that one. Andrew Valdez for $4.99. I think it's really sad that I never heard about Star Trek or Doctor Who until you and Az started talking. Really? About how bad it is. Hope you're doing well. Well, Andrew Valdez, hey, you're always new to something. If you want to try out, what would I start with? I would start with Doctor Who, but don't start. I know this will kill the UK crowd, but don't get mad at me, okay? I always recommend going to the Third Doctor, when it hits color. Try that first if you want to try Doctor Who and work your way up, and if you really get into it, then you can backtrack. For one, there's missing episodes, and for some people, black and white, and especially to early 60s British television, it's an acquired taste, okay? And you don't want people to run away from it. The original series, I would say start with the original series. It holds up to this very day. Some of the best writing in television history. I am of the opinion the best written show in the history of television is Twilight Zone. And that comes from around the same era, you know. And when I saw Carl standing in front of the door in Discovery, I thought a little bit about Twilight Zone. It was very a Twilight Zone thing, and then they couldn't pull it off. Brendan Lucas for £2. Think you missed my super chat. Brendan, I will backtrack. I'm sorry. There it is right there. I wonder how many confused teenage girls will get mastectomies because Ellen wanted to be relevant again. Ellen, like DeGeneres? Which Ellen? Okay. Not Elliot Page. You're talking about Ellen Page. Okay. Who knows, Brendan? Who knows? It's, if you say it's a trend, they're going to call that like hate speech, but I would just call it truth. But that's me. Sorry, it took me a minute there. Sorry, I missed it. Carolina barbecue is vinegary and weird. Once you move to Texas, take a trip to Mecca, also known as the Salt Lick in Driftwood. I've been to North Carolina, Memphis, Kansas City, and Texas. This is the best. All right. I've heard Kansas City was the best, but I'll try them all, and I'll decide for myself. But I might like vinegary and weird. Got to remember, Mark, I grew up in California. I like pineapple on my pizza, dude. I do. I can't help it. Roger Zalanzi, the first 5 books with Prince Corwin. Absolutely. Fuck Google 2 for $2. Oh my God. It got me. You don't know how hard of a time those books got me through. And I read them over and over again. What was the name of oh God, I haven't read it in years. Now I'm going to just try to figure it out. It is the main character. Hang on. Oh, the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. That's right. Those were cool too. Haven't read those in a long time. Many, many years, but those were good too. Rebecca Gold, Mando is fun, plot holes aside. I love how they made Bill Burr the star of last episode. Rebecca, Ian, what's up, Ian, for £5? I thought Bill Burr was great. I did. There's a big conundrum. There's a big dilemma. It's not that big of a dilemma. It doesn't need to be a dilemma with The Mandalorian, with some people who use the hashtag The Fandom Menace. I think it's up to the individual. Here's my personal decision with Disney and The Mandalorian. Disney has a lot of work to do before I become a fan of Star Wars, if I ever do that again. I am not a fan of Disney. Never been a fan of Disney, to be honest with you. I used to be a huge Marvel fan, but Marvel doesn't exist anymore. You know how I say Disney Star Wars, and a lot of people do? And I'm glad to say, I'm not saying I started it. I say it along with a lot of other people. Disney Marvel has to become part of the vernacular now because Marvel is dead. But there's still stuff I enjoy from the MCU. And aside from Captain Marvel, I haven't, the comics suck and I don't read them anymore. And that's saying something. But Loki looked good. I thought the trailer looked really good. I like the music. The concept looks crazy, looks very Doctor Who-ish. And yeah, I thought the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the trailer looked good, but I heard what it's about and I'm not that excited about it. WandaVision looks very cool. And then we get to Miss Marvel. Oh. And that trailer, I don't know if you guys watched the trailer where they said this really popular character, Miss Marvel. And I don't know if this is a new saying or not. Okay. It just came across my radar today, and there's wish casting and wish rumoring. I don't know what wish rumoring is. It was wish rumoring and wish plotting. When somebody was, I was watching, people were discussing Doomcock's rumors on a major website, by the way. And they were saying stuff like that. And I was doing research for a video. I'd never seen those terms around. But I think when it comes to Disney Star Wars, the Marvel's going to, when it comes to Miss Marvel, they're trying to create a reality. They're trying to create hype. It's like trying to make a viral video. You can't do it. You can't make something popular. Miss Marvel is clearly not a popular character. She's visually not very interesting character. She doesn't have a very iconic costume. It just looks like a t-shirt. And it's a bunch of people working at Marvel who should know better. And they're listening to people who don't know shit, trying to create genre characters who have identity politics and agenda first. That's their first priority. And they're going to, we're going to make Miss Marvel as popular as Spider-Man. And that was their goal. They wanted to make Miss Marvel as popular as Spider-Man. Saying something like that shows how ignorant you are about fucking life, much less comic books. It's nice to have goals. It's nice to have lofty goals, but Spider-Man's popular for some very basic reasons. He's a likable character on a human level, and you can identify with him on a human level. And you do that by making, you built that story over years. But the most important thing about Spider-Man is his fucking costume. His costume. That's his brand. You can have Peter Parker and it was an interesting story. You put him in a shitty looking costume. He's not a popular character. The reason Spider-Man is popular is it had a good story. As important, if not more important, it had a badass costume. He had a badass costume that kids liked. And that's how it works with comic books. You don't just go, I'm going to make a popular character. Okay, first she's got to be Pakistani and a Muslim, and just like You don't set out to create a legend. You don't do it by committee either. So Disney is too big to succeed, in the sense Disney can never, ever create another Star Wars or another Marvel Comics or even another Spider-Man or even another Ant-Man. Because they say it right in their meeting, and this is the problem with Star Trek. This is the problem with Doctor Who. This is the problem with Star Wars. Bob Chapek, in the beginning of his meeting, said, "We're really excited to get this platform this dynamic platform direct to consumers." And I'm paraphrasing what he said. It is the perfect combination of creatives being free to do what they want based on data-driven marketing. So the creatives can do whatever they want as long as it's within the parameters of an algorithm, essentially. If you can sit through the first 15 minutes of the Disney presentation, just listen to it. And you go, oh, I understand The Mandalorian now. I completely understand. It's a miracle we're getting something this good out of something that's made by committee. I bet you there were fuller scripts. I guarantee you they were. Jon Favreau probably had 40 to 50 page scripts for each episode. And then it went to Bob Iger. And then it went to the 19 producers and Dave Filoni. And then it ran through the marketing, which is all done. It's all data driven now. So they're not actually doing market research with human beings. They're just gathering their data from Disney Plus and they're making their creative decisions on that. So they have this script, right? And they're like, oh, that's an interesting part in the plot, but that's going to make somebody think too much. We don't want to, because thinking makes some people uncomfortable. And Disney's baseline is to be the least offensive as possible at this point. So anything that might cause anybody the most mildest discomfort needs to be eradicated from the script. And then you get 19-page scripts. Hail, Gary. I'm sorry I'm doing some karaoke tonight, and STD is shizzle anyway. Thanks for your entertainment and solid point of view. Here's a little more moving money. Thanks, Draco. Enjoy your karaoke. Thanks for the $20. I appreciate it. Phil Moore, thoughts on X-Files? I loved it. I loved it to death. I hate it when David Duchovny left. I didn't think it was very good when he left, but I sat through it. Thought the ending was complete bonkers. When it came back for those two really bizarre seasons, within those two bizarre seasons, it had some of the best episodes ever. It had a couple of all-time episodes, including the lizard guy from what's his name? From New Zealand, comedian, Flight of the Conchords. I can't remember his name, but that was one of the best. And Mr. Chuckleteeth. Oh my God, Mr. Chuckleteeth. I think it was the kid show one. That was fucking great. That was a great episode. Justin Bethel for $10. But I love the X-Files. I own all the episodes, Phil. I remember watching the final episode and being really sad that it was gone. I think the first movie is really good. It fits in with the show, but things went downhill after that movie. Justin Bethel for $10. What do you think are the chances of a new TV writer? What do you think the chances of a new TV writers in these woke times? Or what do you think the chances are that we'll get good TV writers? I have an anti-establishment show that both right and left wingers would like. Do you like 80s thrash metal and period dramas? Yes, Justin. I love 80s thrash metal. I listened to it today at the gym. I love period dramas as long as it's not just a bunch of people sitting around talking. I don't like drama. I am a nerd in that sense that the stuff I watch needs to have wizards, spaceships, superheroes, or it needs to be really freaking weird, like Twilight Zone. But there's very few movies that I would call linear or like Ford versus Ferrari is probably the most normal movie I liked in a long time. Or a drug deal gone bad. Trevor Haas for $5. Can you post small videos on Instagram so I can share them? Your points are so good, I think it would help. Wow, really? In my opinion, love the channel. Trevor Haas for $5. Yes, I can. I can start doing that. Mrs. Nerdrotic's been wanting me to do that for a while. Sure. Matt G for $2. Thoughts on 60s Outer Limits? It's brilliant. It's not as good as Twilight Zone, but it's damn close. Outer Limits, Alfred Hitchcock, Twilight Zone. I grew up on that stuff, Matt G. That's what I grew up on. You know, it's so great that I only had 6 channels to choose from, and that was a lot. I was spoiled because I was close to LA. So I lived in San Diego. So I got the LA stations and I got the San Diego stations, and I get a double dose of Star Trek and a double dose of Twilight Zone. And then after Twilight Zone, it would be Alfred Hitchcock and then Outer Limits. And then Lost in Space. And the Planet of the Apes TV show. All that good shit. Pineapple on pizza. I'm not sure we can be friends. Honestly, I've had California pizza. Anything you can put on into and make it edible, I understand. Yeah, the wood fire pizza is good. I don't have it all the time, but I can't stand anchovies. Miss Marvel is shock treatment. Miss Marvel is shock treatment was as Miss Marvel is to Rocky. Miss Marvel is shock treatment was to Rocky Horror. Yeah, I didn't like shock treatment. 200 watt studio. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't. Just read Zelanzi's short story, Damnation Alley, in which a biker character referenced a special place near Tijuana where things were fenced. Thought of your story a few days back. Oh, I'll have to read that. Magali 67, $10. You mean Ocean Beach? Is it? Well, that's on the American side, but that used to be Bartertown. Imperial Beach and Ocean Beach, that's where I got in all kinds of, well, I didn't get in trouble because cops didn't go down there, but I could have. A lot of shenanigans. 2020 is a trash fire for $4.99. Hope Mando gets a droid for his next ship. Never bothered to figure out how he was tracked. Thanks for all the content. You're welcome. How he was tracked. He was tracked by that mechanic when he landed at Grief Karga's town. That mechanic put in a tracker. I think what I don't get is why he didn't check his ship for something like that. If you're a savvy and smart bounty hunter and part of the guild, I mean, good enough to fight your way to get a bunch of Beskar, and you would probably, I don't know, I would check my ship every half hour for a tracker. I'd be a little paranoid. But the Mandalorian, man, he just kind of goes through life like without a worry in the world. I'll leave the kid up there. I'm going to put my jetpack down. It doesn't matter. Pedro got to take his helmet off, though. Actors claiming trans is fad like coffee colonics. 200 watt studio for $2. You are correct, sir. That's why Kit Harington came out and said he's gender fluid because his mom bought him a doll once. Okay. Lord, I started a fight about barbecue. LOL, says Matt Hooper for $2. Hey, man, people take that shit seriously. They take it seriously, brother. Edward Preeter for $25. I love your work, Gary. I hope you get to live somewhere you can be happy. Thanks for the 25 pounds. I hope you are happy too, Edward. I'll tell you this. It's been a rough year for everyone. And, I'll keep you guys up to date, but I'm really trying to it's been a rough year for everyone. You don't need to hear what's going on. But I promise you, I'm happy. I'm a happy dude. I've been sad for the last couple, weeks because I lost, my father-in-law, and he and I were really tight, really tight. So that's affected me. I'm not going to lie. It's affected my work. It's affected everything. But I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. I've got a good family life. So that's important. Yeah, Trevor, I'll figure out the Instagram thing and I will do that. The only hard part will be me getting to a point within that's why I would suck on TikTok, because it would be, it would start out with a run-on sentence and then end. Just end. But thanks, Edward and Matt G. And let me go back through here. This was a long one, but what the hell? I was Yellow Flash asked me to be on, and I said I had too much work to do, and then I realized I had to do this. I hope I didn't step on his live stream too much. I love Yellow Flash. He is a friend, a good YouTuber. He's going to be on Friday Night Tights in a couple weeks, and I promise to be on his show next week if he wants me on. Okay. Cornelius Brunius for $5. I'm surprised you've never watched Babylon 5 before. One of the biggest things that surprised me about the series was the special effects at the time. Why didn't I watch Babylon 5? As big of a fan as I am of television now, I wasn't back then. I'm still that way. I don't watch everything. I don't sit down and I don't sit down. I don't do the Netflix and chill thing. I'll look for a show to watch, and if one grabs me, I'll get into it. And if it isn't, I've tried a lot of things and never finished them because they didn't grab me in the first couple of episodes. But back in the day, I watched X-Files, Star Trek, and that was about it. I listened to a lot of music, and I was drawing at the time. I was always doing my art or playing in a band. But so, yeah, I didn't take in a ton of TV. I hate sitcoms. So the only sitcom I've ever really liked, modern one. Well, I don't like any modern ones really. Scrubs. Is that a sitcom? Married with Children. Like that one. I like Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley when I was a kid. I'm trying to think of sitcoms that I like. I think most of them are just absolutely lame. Seinfeld. I like Seinfeld. All right. I think we got them all. But I'd sit through a few sitcoms before Star Trek Discovery right now. God, we need something good. We need The Expanse to be good. It's very important for me that this show, that it's a good season of science fiction without any GD identity politics. The show doesn't need it. The show's set up a parameter. The show is set up in a world that really is a decent representation of what our future could be, especially if we're staying on the path we are now. And I think it's very interesting that two writers who are, if you follow the writers of the books on Twitter, they're giant SJWs, like huge SJWs, but they took a real fair look at the United Nations. So if you haven't read the books or seen the show, Earth, there's Mars, and then there's a colony on what's called the belt, the asteroid belt. And what they were was the workers for Mars and Earth, and they have become their own separate society, and they have generations of people who were born and raised in space, so their bones are brittler, they're tall, they're like 6-7 feet tall and really skinny. because they grew up in 0G or very light gravity. Mars was a colony that came from Earth that is uber militarized. So it's a really focused militarized society with the goal of eventually terraforming Mars, but it's like 100 years away. So they live in tunnels. And then Earth has gone to shit because there was an environmental disaster that we're not sure of. And the United Nations ended up taking over the world. And it's run exactly how you would think the United Nations would run a world, by committee. Politicians aren't accountable. Giant mega corporations run the world. And most citizens are on something called basic income, which is like welfare, and which is something they've introduced this year, by the way. And it's a miserable existence, and they portray it that way. So yeah, it's interesting. Irish Jack, welcome to the Gandalf level. I don't know if I said that already. All right. So looking forward to Godzilla versus Kong. I was too, but I want to see it in the theater. That's the one that's one I want to see in the theater. The movie I'm looking the most forward to that was going to be released in theaters was The Suicide Squad. That one looks fucking dope. I can't wait for that movie. Do I read Sitchin? Yes, I've read Sitchin. I have read Sitchin, Matt Hooper, for $2. Zachariah. It's a trip. 12th planet. All right, I'm going to roll. Thanks for joining me tonight. Nyla Shadow, thanks for being here. And Sheila. What's up, Sheila? How you doing? What's up, Red Pill Gary? Con! And yeah, I'll be on the Inquisition tomorrow night on Doomcock's channel. I got a member stream tomorrow morning. Yeah, if I can get a Star Wars video, I have to get it out by tomorrow or the news will be old. So we'll see. If not, then I'm just going to chuck it and get back to work on Picard. Yeah, the news is just, it either comes out all at once when I can't cover it, or yeah. And I've just been busy on this Picard review. So hopefully you like it when it comes out. And then I'll be on to The Mandalorian will be my next review after that. So everybody have a good night. Star Trek Discovery still sucks. This was a real long review that really got into other places, but I'm glad you all joined me so late. Oh, it's not that late, but it's 10:30 here. So I will see you next time. And yeah, the Nooner, my next live stream will be the Nerdrotic Nooner on Monday at noon. So tune in then, because we're going to try to do them actually at noon now. And we're going to get back to doing 2 a week, maybe more. We'll see. Also check out my third channel, Nerdrotic Daily, where clips from my live streams are edited by Perry Chan. And the channel has been doing great. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers in just over 2 weeks. That is brilliant. Hey, Gary, this is for doing the Exozone this week. Thanks, bro. Oh, you're welcome, Bobby Lane, for $5. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had a better one planned, but that kind of went sideways. So I'm glad we got an episode out of it at all. But good night, everyone. Good night, chat. Good night, Lori Wilson. Not all who wander are lost.